Thank you for the opportunity to take part in this debate on the Russian shadow fleet. Weakening Russia's ability to pursue its illegal war of aggression against Ukraine is an absolute priority for the European Union. Our sanctions have sought to cut Russia's sources of income, notably in the energy sector. The impact of the oil import ban on Russia is significant, as it covered 90% of EU oil imports from Russia. Losing this major lucrative market has had a significant effect on Russia, whose budget relies substantially on oil revenues. The price caps on crude oil and refined petroleum products agreed with the G7 plus price cap coalition have further reduced the revenues Russia earns from oil. Had the EU not taken decisive measures to wean itself off Russian oil, Russia would be in a significantly better financial position to fuel its war machine. As a result of sanctions, Russian tax revenue from oil was down 30% in 2023. We have been successful in striking a balance between our own needs and the imperative to cripple Russia's war machine. But I must also acknowledge that there are still issues for the European Union. There is understandable concern over the heightened risk and exposure for the EU member states within the direct vicinity of Russia, given the trading routes passing along their coastlines. But this concern is not new, and it is also a global one. A serious incident or accident can occur anywhere. In fact, we are already seeing incidents in the Baltic Sea, but also further away from Europe. For example, illegal oil discharges or collisions because vessels turn off their navigation tracking systems. For these reasons, it is important to understand whether these vessels are insured, and if they claim to be insured, to understand what kind of insurance providers are behind this trade, and whether the coverage is worth the paper it is written on in the case of a spill. We have strong doubts about the financial solidity of the insurers that are currently insuring the shadow fleet. We are also aware that these insurers rely on sanctions exclusion clauses which they can leverage to refuse to compensate for damages they are responsible for. We face the risk that the cost of possible oil spills and other environmentally significant incidents would not be covered and would place an unfair burden on states. Confronted with this reality, the European Union has taken meaningful steps to tackle the dangers created by Russia's shadow fleet, while ensuring that the oil price cap continues impacting Russian revenues. Firstly, to address the maritime safety and environmental risks, the Commission is working closely with its member states for concerted action as the International Maritime Organization and at EU level. The EU supported the resolution adopted by the General Assembly of the International Maritime Organization in December 2023, which addressed the illegal practices of shadow fleet vessels. Additionally, at the European Political Community Summit in July 2024, the European Union and its member states signed up to a call to action to collaborate on addressing the use of illegitimate vessels which present serious security and environmental risk to European waterways. The European Union also fully supports the current work of the International Oil Pollution Compensation Funds to address the issue of uninsured and unsafe ships. At EU level, the Commission is working with the Member States to strengthen and promote strict enforcement of EU and international maritime safety obligations against shadow fleet vessels. The Commission and the Member States can also count on the instrumental support of the European Maritime Safety Agency. Secondly, in our efforts to tackle the shadow fleet, we are speaking with key interlocutors, flag states. Flag states have the primary responsibility to ensure that their ships are fit to sail and comply with safety and pollution prevention requirements. These are obligations to which flag states have subscribed at the International Maritime Organization. We instructed EU delegations to reach out to those countries whose flag registers are hosting and providing services to the shadow fleet. Flag states must be held accountable, and these ships must no longer escape international oversight and regulation. We are also speaking with countries that may be using the services of shadow fleet vessels. For instance, EU Sanctions envoy David O'Sullivan is visiting India this week, and this topic will be on the agenda. Finally, the European Union has also leveraged its sanctions powers to contain the shadow fleet. We do not want to see these vessels enter our ports. For this reason, in the 11th package of sanctions, the EU prohibited port access to vessels engaging in dangerous shipping practices while transporting Russian oil. In the 12th package, the EU reinforced the compliance regime for the oil price cap, asking for more detailed information from those engaging in Russian oil trade to ensure better enforcement and further enable Member States' action. We have also worked hard with our G7+ partners to provide support to industry to better implement this policy, in particular through common guidance and regular contacts to gather their feedback on the challenges they are facing in complying with the oil price cap. We are also aware that Russia is sourcing these aging tankers from ship owners willing to sell them for such a problematic trade. To make more transparent the trade of second-hand tankers, the European Union therefore introduced in its 12th package a notification rule for the sale of a tanker to any third country. This allows the Commission to closely monitor the tankers which may be added to the shadow fleet. With the adoption of the 14th package of sanctions on Russia in June 2024, the European Union has a new legal tool to designate specific vessels whose activities support Russia's war against Ukraine. As a result, the European Union can now target tankers transporting Russian oil that pose real and high risk of incidents because they carry out dangerous operations such as ship-to-ship transfers or turning off again their tracking systems. Once listed, the vessels are prohibited from accessing Member States' ports and locks and from a broad range of services related to maritime transport. So far, the European Union has placed 27 vessels on this list, including 17 tankers transporting Russian oil. Most of these operate close to Member States' coastlines. The European Union has also listed entities involved in the Russian shipping sector, in particular operating tankers supporting the export of its oil. By going after these ships, especially those operating close to Member States' coastline, the European Union is putting the spotlight on specific actors at the service of Russia and calling out their behaviour. Like-minded countries have been adopting similar measures, and we see that our efforts are having a sizable impact on the shadow fleet's activities. These ships have had their names, flag and ownership changed in an attempt to obscure their identities. Nonetheless, as a result of sanctions, the ships become tainted for the other market players and cannot continue operating as usual. This also increases the cost of Russia to operate such a fleet. At the same time, the designations have not negatively affected oil prices. Vessel designations are certainly something to be pursued further in the next sanctions package. The Commission is in active contact with Member States, international partners and the private sector to identify further targets. So we will continue to increase all the possible measures at EU level with the Member States, but also with international partners to fight against such a practice. Thank you.